Hello everyone, welcome to a new series on my channel called What I Played, where I will talk about what I played every month. Naturally, we're going to start with January, which I'm really happy about, both because it just feels correct, but also because January is a pretty unique month for gaming. There's almost never any major releases, so I always treat it as a month to either catch up on things from the previous year or from my backlog in general. This month, I mainly paid attention to my backlog, so we'll be talking about a few things that I had been meaning to cross off for quite a while and finally got around to. So without further ado, here is what I played in January 2026. We're starting off hot, off the rip. I am a giant pussy when it comes to horror games, which is weird because I adore horror movies. There's just something about actually being the one who's about to get eviscerated that forces my brain to just short circuit. So coming into the year, I wanted to challenge myself a bit and prove myself that I could beat a horror game. And that's what I did, finally. I won't go too deep into the plot for anyone that wants to play it, but Dead Space, for those unaware, is a third-person survival horror game set in space, primarily aboard the USG Ishimura, which is a planet cracker that's mining Aegis 7, I think it's pronounced, an alien planet. You play as Isaac Clarke, an engineer joined by Chief Security Officer Zach Hammond and computer technician Kendra Daniels. I'm being pretty general here, but you try and dock onto the USG Ishimura and it all goes awry. You go in and there's aliens called necromorphs that can only be killed by dismembering them, and you spend a majority of the time doing tasks to repair the ship so you can find a way out. There's more to it, there's a cult and shit, but I'll leave that for anyone that wants to play. Now, I'll be totally upfront, the story was not top of mind for me while I was playing the game. I was keeping up with it, I understood what was happening as it was happening, but for me, it was a battle of attrition, so I'll mainly be talking in depth about the gameplay for that reason. The first hour or so was a bit of a struggle, but as I started to be able to expect the jump scares and understand how to quickly deal with the necromorphs, I was able to settle in and start to treat the game more as like an action game rather than a horror game, and the preceding 11 hours were a great time. The gunplay is pretty standard point and shoot, but it's elevated by the weapon variety. There are 7 weapons: the plasma cutter, line gun, pulse rifle, ripper, force gun, contact beam, and a flamethrower. They all have different ways of shooting, so my main setup was pulse rifle, a typical assault rifle for spraying, line gun, a gun that shoots in a flat vertical or horizontal line for targeting the legs and arms specifically, the ripper, a gun that shoots spinning blades for close range, and a contact beam for bosses, which is exactly what it sounds like. I'm honestly not sure if those are the intended usages of each of those guns, but I think creating that kind of system for myself made it easier for me to lock in on the gameplay rather than the holy shit, this thing's gonna rip my head off feeling. The upgrading system for weapons adds some slight depth, but I honestly didn't feel like it made a huge impact on my gameplay. The upgrades never felt truly game-changing. As you're walking around the Ishimura, the main form of gameplay outside of killing necromorphs is doing some kind of puzzle. Puzzles are typically pretty straightforward: go here and get this piece of tech so you can do this and that. Nothing crazy, but enough to keep me pushing through. You'd think that because 99% of the game takes place on one ship that the environment would get old, but it honestly doesn't. Part of that is because the game is on the shorter side, around 12 hours or so, but I also want to give huge credit to the original devs at Visceral Games because they did a great job of making each part of the ship feel different enough that it never really got old, and the devs at Motive for this remake did an incredible job recreating that feeling. Without a doubt, the most visually impressive portions of the game are when you actually leave the Ishimura and are floating in space. At least 3 to 4 separate times, I gave myself a few seconds to just enjoy the view because it is stunning. I really enjoyed my time with Dead Space. Where it lacks in story, I think it makes up for in simple but satisfying combat, some good puzzles, and a breezy runtime. I think this year I really want to continue challenging myself with these horror games. Resident Evil 2 and 4 are staring me dead in the eye right now. The main goal this year, however, is to finally tackle Silent Hill 2. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it's a good goal to have. Going into playing Mario Odyssey, I had really, really high hopes. I've heard nonstop from people that this is their favorite Mario game, it's the best Mario game outside of Mario 64, etc. And it just did not hit that way for me. The level design is very hit or miss. One kingdom, I think it's awesome. The next, I'm fighting to get through because it's just straight up boring. For example, Wooded Kingdom is a lot of fun. Becoming an uproot and using it to stretch to certain areas is a lot of fun, and I think it easily has the best boss fight that I played. On the other side though, Seaside Kingdom is fucking atrocious. The level design is lackluster, the swimming in this game is just plain bad, and holy fuck, the octopus boss fight is straight up tedious and annoying. I really wanted to like this game more than I do. I would be lying if I said that my prevailing opinion as I move on from this game isn't Astrobot is just so much better. Brother, I fucking love Burnout Paradise. The more I play it, the more I become convinced that it's my favorite racing game of all time. I bought this on my PS3, so the gameplay you're seeing is from my PC version. But man, there is just something so relaxing about driving around in this game. They did such a great job designing the world so that you have to pay attention just enough for it to be fun, but not so little that it becomes boring. Things like the billboards you can smash through, the ramps on the roads that give you the boost, the different shops on the side of the road, they keep you involved as you're driving. I had a genuine flashback moment the first time I drove through a spray shop to get a new color of my car. I know we all love the easy customization and being able to choose the exact color we want for our cars. I think it's a net positive for games, obviously, but I really cherish those memories of driving through either the spray station in Burnout or going in and out of the shop in GTA 4 to get the exact color I wanted for my car. It's a lost mechanic that I would like to see incorporated somehow into newer games. Like imagine playing GTA 6, and if you're in a cop chase, you can quickly get the color of your car changed, and there's a chance that the cops won't notice you, and you lose your wanted level. I know that's pretty arcadey, and I assume that to an extent for GTA 6 they'll go arcadey, but not to that extent. I think it would rule, whatever. Anyways, Burnout Paradise fucking rocks. There isn't a whole lot more for me to say because I typically use this as my wind down game. Maybe an hour or two before bed, I'll load this game up, turn my phone off, and just chill driving around doing races. Slowly but surely I plan to platinum it as well, but I'm very much taking my time with it. MIO Memories in Orbit is a 2D Metroidvania platformer developed by this studio that I will not even try to pronounce. My venture into my backlog was fun, but about 3 weeks into the month, I was ready to get into something new. Luckily, MIO was released on Game Pass at the perfect time for me to dive into it with no other distractions. You play an android named MIO, and you explore the vessel, a technological ark, and you try to defeat the rogue machines and save the spaceship and the other androids on it from certain death. It's a relatively straightforward narrative, but one that I find pretty easy to follow and get interested in. The real thing with these games, for me at least, is the gameplay. And sadly, it's one of the worst Metroidvania platformers I've ever played in that sense. The in-air combat is some of the worst I've ever played. I'm not sure if it's just hitboxes or what, but countless times I was in the air, directly in front of an enemy, and my attacks just simply did not hit. At first, I fully blamed myself and committed to learning the game, but at a certain point, it became clear that I think it just fucking sucks. That issue is exacerbated by the fact that a good 80% of the enemies in this game are flight-based enemies. When engaging in regular on-the-ground combat, it's just okay, nothing remarkable, nothing unique, just okay. The boss fights didn't do much for me, none of them stood out, the patterns were almost too easy to figure out. Through one attempt, you can figure out basically every move that a boss has to throw at you. The art style is fantastic, and there are a lot of environments that are really pretty to look at, so the game isn't totally useless. The combat is just straight up abysmal at worst to unremarkable at best. Kinda disappointed. I wasn't going in with crazy expectations, but my first new game of the year, I would have liked something better. And there you go, everything I played in January 2026. There was one more game that I played, but in my next video, I'll be doing a whole review on that because I ended up very much enjoying it. If you've been following me on Twitter, you know what I'm talking about. Thank you to everyone that came and watched my previous video about the PlayStation 3, my first video on this channel. It meant a lot to see everyone in the chat hanging out. I don't know if I'll do premieres anymore, but it was cool for the first time. Maybe in the future I'll have a really big project. We'll see what happens. If you're a fan of pro wrestling, me and my friends do basically daily streams, but I'll say weekly to be safe. Weekly streams about pro wrestling on the Late Night Grind. So if you like pro wrestling, go support us over there via memberships or the free streams or subscribing, whatever you want to do. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that business. Goodbye.